Hi kids, Mrs. Rogers here, doing library time from my back porch. I miss you guys. Hope you're doing a lot of reading. I usually say at the beginning of our class, what are you reading? But it's kind of hard for us to share that information if I'm just doing a video. So I want you to feel free to send me an email, ask your parents to help. You have to look for Kim Rogers on your Google account, email, and I'll get your notes. I want to know what you're reading, who you're reading it with, or who are you reading it to, and how you're liking it. Today I'm going to read you a story. The story is called Weslandia. Really like this book. I had it in my collection upstairs. I used to read it to my own kids. It's a little broken, but it works pretty well. We'll get through it. This book is by Paul Fleischman. It is illustrated by Kevin Hawkes, and it is published by Scholastic Inc. Of course he's miserable, moaned Wesley's mother. He sticks out like a nose, says his father. Listening through the heating vent, Wesley knew they were right. He was an outcast from the civilization around him. He alone in his town disliked pizza and soda. Alarming his mother and the school nurse, he found professional football to be stupid. He refused to shave half of his head, the hairstyle worn by other boys, despite his father's bribe of $5. Passing his neighborhood's two styles of houses, garage on the left and garage on the right, Wesley alone dreamed of more exciting forms of shelters. And he had no friends, but plenty of tormentors, and fleeing from them was the only sport he was good at. They don't seem like they're being very nice. That's why they're called tormentors. Each afternoon, his mother asked him what he learned in school that day. That seeds are carried great distances by the wind, he answered on Wednesday. That each civilization had its staple food crop, he answered on Thursday. That school is over and I should find a good summer project, he answered on Friday. And as always, his father mumbled, I'm sure you'll use that knowledge often. Suddenly, Wesley's thoughts shot sparks. His eyes blazed. His father was right. He could actually use what he learned that week for a summer project that would top all others. He would grow his own staple food crop and found his own civilization. The next morning, he turned over a plot of ground in his yard. That night, the wind blew in from the west. It raced through the trees, and it set his curtains snapping. Wesley lay awake, listening. His land was being planted. Because he had learned that on Thursday, that the wind could carry the seeds, right? You remember that? Good. "5 days later, the first seedlings appeared. You might have bedlam on your hands if you don't get those weeds out, warned his neighbor. Actually, that's my crop, replied Wesley. It's a type of garden. There are no weeds. Following the ancient tradition, Wesley's fellow gardeners grew tomatoes, beans, Brussels sprouts, and nothing else. Wesley found it thrilling to open his land to a chance to invite the new and unknown. The plants shot up past his knees, Then his waist. They seemed to be all the same sort, and Wesley couldn't find them in any other plant's book. Are those beans, tomatoes, or Brussels sprouts? Asked Wesley's neighbor. None of the above, replied Wesley. Fruit appeared, yellow at first, blushing to magenta. Wesley picked one and sliced through the rind into a juicy purple center. He took a bite and found the taste an entrancing blend of peach, strawberry, pumpkin pie, and flavors he had no name for. Ignoring the shelf of cereals in the kitchen, Wesley took to breakfasting on the fruit. He dried half the rind to serve as a cup and built his own squeezing device and drank the fruit juice during the day. Pulling up the plant, he found large tubers on the roots. These he boiled, fried, or roasted on the family barbecue, seasoning them with a pinch of the plant's highly aromatic leaves. It was hot work tending to his crop. To keep off the sun, Wesley wove himself a hat from strips of the plant's woody bark. His success with the hat inspired him to devise a spinning wheel and loom, on which he wove a loose-fitting robe from the stalk's soft inner fibers. And unlike jeans, which he found scratchy and heavy, the robe was comfortable, reflected the sun, and offered a myriad of pockets. Pockets are a great place to keep your treasures. His schoolmates were scornful, but then curious. Grudgingly, Wesley allowed them 10 minutes apiece at his mortar, crushing the plant's seeds to collect the oil. The oil had a tangy scent and served him both as suntan lotion and mosquito repellent. He rubbed it on his face each morning and sold small amounts to his former tormentors at a price for $10 a bottle. Wow. Now not only is he eating well, he's starting to make money. And he's getting people to work for him, creating a jobs. What happened to your watch? Asked his mother one day. Wesley admitted that he no longer wore it. He told time by the stalk that he used as a sundial and had divided the day into 8 segments, the number of petals on the plant's flower. He adopted new counting system as well, based likewise on the number 8. His domain, home to many such innovations, he named Weslandia. Pretty good considering his name was Wesley, so it's Weslandia. Looks like a pretty nice place. Uninterested in traditional sports, Wesley made up his own. These were designed for single player and used many different parts of the plant. His spectators looked on with envy. Realizing that more players would offer him more scope, Wesley invented other games that would include his schoolmates, games rich with strategy and complex scoring systems. He tried to be patient while the others players blundered. Look at, they're walking on these big sticks. They got these catching things. Catching balls with a basket. August was unusually hot. Wesley built himself a platform and took to sleeping in the middle of Weslandia. He passed the evenings playing a flute he fashioned from a stalk, or gazing up at the sky and renaming the constellations. here's his Weslandia at night. Look how beautiful. His parents noted Wesley's improved morale. It's the first time in years he's looked happy, said his mother. Wesley gave them a tour of Weslandia. What do you call this plant? Asked his father, not knowing its name. Wesley had begun calling it Swiss, from the sound of its leaves rustling in the breeze. In like manner, he named his new fabric, games, and foods until he created an entire language. His house looks so interesting compared to all the other houses in the neighborhood. That's because he's been busy and he's been creative. I'm hoping you're busy and creative too these weeks ahead. Mixing the plant oil with soot, Wesley made a passable ink. As the finale to his summer project, he used the ink and his own 80-letter alphabet to record the history of his civilization's founding. In September, Wesley returned to school. He had no shortage of friends. And here's a little picture that kind of shows what his alphabet looked like that he created on his own. So I hope while you're home these weeks that you do some creative things and that you let me know about them. And as I read in the weeks to come and put more videos up for you guys to see, I hope you'll get some ideas from me and you share those ideas back with me via email. Be well, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.